Let's take a look at the global picture. We had those consumer confidence figures sending a shudder through the market. What does that tell us about where the market is at the moment?
Well, I mean, look, just looking on what the Dow has done this week, it's rather flat. I mean, it's 0.5%, to the downside. So we're just consolidating at the moment, as you can see. And the longer this consolidative move takes place, I think the bigger the move to the upside or to the downside is going to be. So it'll be interesting to see where we go to from here.
Now let's take a look at September, because that's notoriously a bad month for the markets. Do you think there's just some money coming off the table as investors are slightly cautious ahead of this month?
Well, I mean, one wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a sell-off. Like I've been saying for months on end now, I'm not going to try and call a top and say, yeah, we're definitely going to sell off. But, it would not surprise me if we saw a bit of profit taking. I mean, we've had a fantastic run since the lows of this year. So I guess you kind of, once again, just going to have to adopt a wait-and-see approach and see if we do sell off and how deep and how bad it really goes,
Lots of results out this week. We've had back-to-back results. Let's start with Impala Platinum. What was your take on the results? Headline profit more than halving, not as bad as Anglo Platinum, but costs are also rising. What's your take on their results versus where their share price is at the moment?
Well, as you can see from the share price, the share price movement there, the powers that be obviously don't like what's been announced. And I think the major factor with regards to Implats, what's driving the share price down at the moment, in the short term at least, is the fact that the strikes are causing a major fall in production at the moment. I mean, Rustenburg's their biggest mine, and they're demanding 14%, so it'll be interesting to see where we go from here and if the demands get met. But with regards to the results there as well, I mean, I suppose they're pricing slightly better results. CEO saying that they're only going to be able to recover the loss of production in about 2 years' time. So it is a bit worrying. But platinum price seems to be increasing at the moment. But it's going to have to do a lot more work for Implats to recover from here.
And back to those costs of the supply disruptions, costing the company 50 million rand a day. So it's quite significant for the company.
Exactly, So something's going to have to be done there to satisfy their workers sooner rather than later.
Retailers, a lot of results out this week. We had Massmart, we had Woolworths, we had ShopRite. We don't have a lot of time, but if you could cherry pick of those results, which were the most impressive for you and which shares would you be buying?
Well, I mean, I think the share price movement and the results of ShopRite speak for themselves. If you look year to date, ShopRite has definitely outperformed the other retailers. Their earnings up 30.9%, I think it was, compared to Woolworths down about 5%. So they would definitely, from a defensive point of view, still be my pick. If you're looking to take a bit more risk and get into a more slightly cyclical stock like Woolworths, but ShopRite definitely, results speak for themselves.
I was speaking to Woolworths' CEO yesterday, and they've been moving towards their value line, so just indicating that they're moving towards low price goods with consumers buying down. So it just indicates that at the moment the retailers are still battling, and high-end retailers are battling to pull in the consumers.
Exactly. I mean, we've had a number of interest rate cuts, but that still takes a while to feed in. So the consumers only be able to spend like they were 2-3 years ago, beginning of next year maybe if we're lucky. So Woolworths, I suppose, doing the right thing by cutting and going to more cost-effective lines for consumers, definitely, yes.
Obviously, MTN's results are out this week. What was your take on their results? I looked at their numbers, subscriber numbers, not as impressive growth as we would have preferred in South Africa, and also the CEO indicating this has been his worst time as the CEO of the company that he can remember.
Yeah, well, that is expected through this global recession they've been going through. So, but I mean, from a fundamental point of view and a technical point of view, we do like MTN. I think it's a great stock. Obviously, there is a bit of event risk with Barty at the moment, as everyone well knows. But results not bad at all. I mean, the share price has done quite well this week. It's up, from about 126 and we're trading about 133.
Sitting at 132.
Exactly. So doing quite nicely
today.
Exactly. So from a personal point of view, I was quite happy with the results. Didn't look too bad at all. Yeah.
And what support resistance levels are you looking for on the stock?
Well, I think every time we get to the mid 120s to lower 120s, it looks to be quite a decent buying opportunity. And then 135, you can sell it as well to take some profits. Obviously, like I said earlier, event risk is playing a major part right now, but for the time being, we're seeing a nice range, as I've mentioned. So, trade those boundaries and wait for a breakout to occur. I mean, if we get a decent breakout on good volumes above 135, we could, test 145 to 150 in no time at all. But people must just be aware of the event risk attached.
Let's take a look at stocks that are being overlooked at the moment. Where do you see value being offered and share prices significantly lower than they should be?
Well, most sectors have run quite hard. Personally, across the spectrum, I'd wait for a pullback in most sectors to be buying. So I don't see too much value. When you say value, you obviously have to talk from a long-term point of view. I think we have to wait for a decent pullback in most sectors right now. Gold doesn't look too bad. Anglo Gold, for argument's sake, if you can get them at the lower 290s, even 285 will be a fantastic buy. Harmony 70. So if I really had to, if my life depended on had to pick a sector, I suppose gold, I'd wait for a decent pullback and I'd be buying some of those shares. Yeah.
Neil,